Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today's topic is Angel Pidiel, who support us in practical spiritual reflection. And if you're excited like me, please leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with family and friends. Let's get started. The angel governs the sign of Virgo is Pidiel. Pidiel assists us in the spiritual reflection and processes of repentance, removing judgment at the seed level. The lunar month of Virgo-Elul is the most important month of the year, as it's the month of transformation, the month that we can, like no other time of the year, transform into the person we are meant to be. Now, many times self-reflection actually brings sadness or desperation. So in order for us to use Angel Pidiel's support for that, let's understand how best can we do it. Kabbalist Rav Brandwein wrote, "To feel the light of repentance through love, one must adjust himself so he feels whole, because the blessed cannot cleave on to the cursed. And if one feels that he is far from being complete, it is mostly at these times that the evil inclination comes to confuse him further and reminds him of all of his shortcomings, his troubles, and his sins, to trick him into a state of sadness. But we know that the light cannot rest in a place of sadness." The Kabbalists explain that each one of us comes into this world not perfect, actually with a whole suitcase of ways and processes that we need to transform and change through. One of the most important first steps calls in Kabbalah tikkun, correction. If you ask yourself, what do I need to correct? I don't mean I heard so and so yesterday. That's another category of things. Those are secondary to the core. The core is, what is it about me that I want to make better? Am I somebody who gets angry easily? Am I somebody who gets jealous easily? Am I somebody who is very selfish often? Or am I somebody who is very lazy? Each one of us has different parts of us that we came to this world to correct. When we say, what can I do? What can I do? This is who I am. True, this is who you are, but get to know yourself. The reason why you're in this world is to maximize the positive parts of you and transform the parts of you that need to be transformed. It begins with me. How do I make myself even more perfected? How do I first ascertain what are those parts of me? And I would literally write a list, and I would recommend, get to know yourself. It's important to know the good stuff. What are my qualities? What are the blessings or the gifts that I have? Because those have to be developed as well. Get better at that. What our soul came to this world to repair, not specifically as I relate to other people, but specifically as I relate to myself. How do I become the perfected soul? The only way to do that is by focusing on the process of tikkun, which is first, get to know yourself. What are the things that you know are the top 5 of areas that you need to get better at? For example, if a person realizes they are by nature easy to anger, and that is an area of their tikkun, part of their self-repair, of course, it also manifests in how they interact with other people, but that is also secondary. The reason why I want to work on becoming less of an angry person is not simply because it will enable me to have better relationships with people, but rather it will make me a better person. If you're a person who has anger and you're on a desert island and you will never interact with any person, you still should be working on your anger. Not because of the way it affects your relationships with people or the way you hurt people with it, which is also important, but the main reason why you want to work on it is because you need to transform to be a better version of yourself. Thinking, how do we become better, is great. But really at the core, why am I in this world, is to make myself better. And make myself better means you have to have clarity in what isn't the best. Not just focused on what are the areas that I hurt people with. It's important, but it's not the core. And therefore, begin that thought process. Really get to know yourself, because if not, you'll be going after the effect. I heard that person, it makes me feel so bad, or I don't like my boss. But the kind of repair, something you have to be able to identify it as flawed. If it's not working, then you need to fix it. Being emotional intelligence with yourself, it's really knowing with yourself who you are. Also, there is that force that tries to distract us from important things and keeps us focused on the less important things. The teaching says that that force will let you work on everything in this world and invest a tremendous amount of time and effort even in doing certain spiritual things, but betterment actions and processes, but not the most important ones for your transformation. And that's why whatever list that you have made, you are going to come to realize that those are much more difficult for you to transform. It is the most important parts of us that we need to correct, that we're going to find to be the most difficult ones to focus on. And that's why also we need the help and support of the angels, of course. The way a person can start the repair is by looking inside and realizing what are the parts in them that need to be transformed. The next step, if we need a push to want to do it, is an understanding that it is not simply that I want to repair myself because I want to become a better person or really accomplish what my soul came into this world to accomplish, but because whatever light and blessings that I am meant to manifest in my life are always going to be limited by the parts of me that are not repaired. Meaning, each one of us has a tremendous amount of blessings that we are meant to experience in our lives, that we are meant to bring into this world. And the blockages to that is not anything external to me, but me. Which means if I'm not focused on a conscious, continuously work, finding those parts in me that need to be transformed and to do this constant work to transform them, then that makes me unlimited in what I can receive, in the levels of blessings and good that I can bring into my own life and into the world. We all want blessings, achievements, manifestations, however you want to call it. What are blessings? Goodness. Some want money, some want relationships, children, but to the degree that we are not correcting ourselves, we are not going through our own process of tikkun, we, as what we call in Kabbalistic terms, the vessel or the receiver of these blessings is imperfect. For example, you have a cup and it has a hole. You can keep pouring endless water into this cup. As long as the hole is there, there is only a limit for how much water that vessel, that cup can hold. The best thing to do, rather than keeping pouring water into the hole and see that the water level, it stays the same at the level of where the hole in the cup is, the best would be to fix that hole. Then the cup can hold more and more and more. So the reason why we want to be focused on the area of repairing ourselves is not only because that's actually what our soul came into this world to do. We came to become even more perfected, but because it also limits, not doing that work limits the amount of light and blessings that we can receive, the amount of manifested goodness that we can bring into our lives. We want to focus on it. Also, we want to understand that unless you are consistently doing that work, your cup remains with a hole, and therefore the amount of blessings that you can receive will always be limited. It's a paradox because when we look at our mistakes, specifically in the ways that we have hurt ourselves and others, of course you're going to feel sad or pain, but staying in that space ultimately is counterproductive. So connect to our perfected self. Even when you make that list of the things you want to change about yourself, it's important to make a list at the same time of who you want to become. Ultimately, to really envision yourself as an architect would if he would have built a home. We are a work in the making. Life is messy. We are going to fall and we will make mistakes, but hold on to the vision of who you want to become. And know that it is possible, because if not, what's really going to guide you? You could stay in that place of sadness and then there's no movement. Tikkun is each one of our souls comes into this world with certain imperfections that need to be perfected. The question then would be, where do those imperfections originally come from? And the answer is both a beautiful teaching and inspiring. The understanding is that the entirety of humanity, every soul, that ever existed, every soul that will ever exist, is really part of one whole. We all part of one soul that has then been broken down into billions and billions and billions of sparks of souls. Each one of us is not the one total soul, but we are a part of it. If you understand your place in life in that way, which is I am a part of that whole, that unified soul, call it humanity, the totality of humanity has work to do, has a job to do. Its job is to perfect our world, to elevate our world to a new place, to create a new world, a world where the pain and suffering that exist, for example, in our world, no longer exist. Where do my imperfections come from? They are the part of the world that I need to correct. So if I come into this world with an inclination towards anger, that's not that I am a bad person and I'm an angry person and I have to change me. The more beautiful and more profound way to view this, that this is my work for the world by the part of humanity that needs to be corrected, that my soul took upon itself, happens to be the part of anger. But it's not that I'm a bad person and therefore I'm angry, but rather I am a beautiful, powerful soul that needs to elevate the world, and my job in it is the angry part. The Kabbalists view humanity as one single body, and some of us come from the head. That is why there are people in the world throughout history that are the intellectual. There are some souls that come from the hands, and therefore there are people in the world who come to this world to do and create physical things. Some souls come from the heart, and therefore their work in this world is to awaken love in some ways, and so forth. What one would call the ugly parts of me, the nasty parts of me, the bad parts of me, they're actually not the bad parts of me. They are the work that my soul took upon itself for the betterment of the world. So if I am angry, if I came into this world with a prediction towards anger, that is simply my soul's work, and that soul is coming from the liver, according to the Kabbalists. Then when you take the time to look within yourself and you say, well, I'm a jealous person. It's not that, oh, I'm a jealous person, that means I'm bad. I'm a jealous person, or my correction is jealousy because I need to be correcting this. I ask for it. We ask for our correction. I'm going to do this work for the world. If you take a piece of coal, it's nothing. It comes out of the ground. But when you put it under tons and tons of pressure and you polish it, only then do you get a diamond. That piece of coal has to go through many, many hands. But when you look at that unpolished diamond, you don't say, oh, this is an ugly thing. You say, no, this is a beautiful thing that somebody has to clean away, has to polish to show its perfection. So the right view, once you've made that list, what are the things that are my tikkun? What are the things that are my correction? They don't make me bad. They make me the person who's decided, for the sake of humanity, I'm going to correct my beautiful soul by transforming these parts. If a person didn't do enough internal work, and therefore it continues to manifest in his relationships with people, and then sometimes we feel broken by it. For example, I yelled at my son and I really, really feel bad about that. Maybe even I get to a state of being broken. There's tremendous amount of power in that, because being broken is actually not me being broken. It's my ego being broken. Now, there is more potential in that moment actually for my actual light to be revealed. It's also recommended to make the list of people that we've hurt, the interpersonal moments of relationships that are really either broken or that I have done certain things that are not right. I behaved in anger or jealousy. Just like replenishing the diamond, it needs work to reveal it. Who are the people that you have behaved in ways of unkindness or in ways that aren't really who you are? On that list will be people who treated you also very badly. For example, somebody for no reason at all tries to damage you, does negative things towards you. And then in return, you lashed out at them, you hurt them as well. in the logic balance of things, you're not really at fault. They might be a terrible person. They might have done really bad things, or they might just be not such a great person or a good person who's done bad things. So the scale is simply the reason why I don't want to hurt somebody else or get angry at somebody else or be jealous towards somebody else or be hurtful towards somebody else is not because they do or do not deserve it, because they might deserve it or not, but because I want to perfect me. So when you make that list or broken or damaged relationships where I feel that I didn't behave in my best manifestation of my soul, it's important to have that list, and it's important to realize what are the parts of me that need to be even more perfected so that I do not behave in that way again. Again, it doesn't mean that I need to go to every person on the list to say I'm sorry, because I might not be sorry. They might be a horrible, terrible person and treated me terribly. Repair does not always mean going back to each person and repairing, although of course it can help if it's possible, but it's so important to always go back. Why am I doing it? I'm doing this for me. Yeah, he or she did something really bad, but should I have yelled at them that way? Should I have publicly shamed them in that way? What happens very often, people may treat us badly and then we react poorly to that, which is normal. We feel defensive. We feel like we need to be on guard to protect ourselves from further hurt. But then we don't get true to ourselves. When it gets to that piece of repair, the actual going out and repairing, you will find that your ego really, really, really doesn't want you to do that, which should excite you, because one of the things that usually block our blessings, the ego, is one of the biggest ones. And when you're going through a process that your ego knows is going to make you better and bring you more light and blessings, is really going to fight against it. And that should be part of the excitement of going out of your way and repairing. Saying, please forgive me, for you want to actually say it. Here are 6 steps to repair. 1, review your errors. Benjamin Franklin once said, the history of errors of mankind, all things considered, is more valuable and manifesting, all discovering, acknowledging, bring it out, and through that you adjust. The reason you want to say you're sorry, if you did hurt somebody, is not so much for them, although it's important. If you want to have a relationship for you, it's about you. And also feeling the pain you might cause somebody being wrong is a vital part of how we learn and change. Every time we make a mistake, we have a new opportunity to revise how our understanding of ourselves and the world at large. And that is really important part of doing that review. And we need to see ourselves as we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, no matter how painful that spectrum may be, to practice empathy. Number 2 is actually bring more empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. And you can say, I understand, why would they do it? If I were in their shoes, maybe I would do worse, maybe I wouldn't do it. But at least you put yourself in their shoes and you can open your heart and understand them. Number 3, be compassionate. Empathy leads to compassion, and compassion is empathy in action. You can't have compassion for somebody that you judge. You might feel their pain, but to really have compassion, you can judge. Number 4, connect to your highest self. The soul is never damaged. It's only covered by our negative actions. Number 5, forgive, repair, repeat. Catherine Shores explains, it's the wrongness, not the rightness, that can teach us who we are. The experience of being right is imperative for our survival, and it gratifies our ego. So it takes work. The idea of errors seems like death many times, but we need to know that we are wrong about whatever we reacted towards people, but there's always a way to fix it. Number 6, let it go. The final step is to let it go completely. And I know it sounds easy, but it's one of the hardest thing. So to summarize, remind yourself that we were never meant to be perfect in the first place. We're not supposed to have it all figured out. day to day, we're not supposed to never make mistakes or even never hurt anyone. The key is that when you see those parts of yourself and you feel badly about them, just don't feel badly about it, but do something with it and work on really transforming it into something that's powerful in a soulful way, in a perfected way. Meaning, anger is a powerful energy, but you can change that anger into a different force. We're just all in the middle of a process, and the reason we should be doing the repair is for ourselves, and that starts with really getting to know ourselves on a deep level. What is it that my soul came into this world to repair internally? Yes, it's also manifest externally, but it begins with the internal. And the reason to be excited about that is because this is not something that is bad about me. This is this polishing of the diamond, this work that my soul took upon itself for the world, that is what I am repairing. And ultimately, if I want to have, in Kabbalistic words, the vessel or the capability to receive the greater and greater light and blessings that my soul came into this world to receive, I have to be consistently going through that process of internal repair, and yes, also external repair that feeds the greater and greater blessings. The more you're going to focus on it, the more you're going to bring the angel Pidiel. Please help me, instruct me, give me the clarity, and show me the best way. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you find it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe, and share. For those of you who want to do deep work and need more help in getting answers, I really encourage all of you to take the one-to-one coaching with angels together with me. You have all the information below and in my bio. Have a beautiful, blessed month, and I hope you can start working with Angel Pidiel. See you in the next video. Bye.